Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tomi, a developer advocate working with the channel. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Nomad for container orchestration. So Nomad is an open source workload orchestration and scheduling system that offers a simplified and flexible alternative to Kubernetes. Nomad can deploy both containerized and non-containerized applications across efficient, highly scalable clusters. And Nomad is part of the HashiCorp ecosystem, which allows it to have built-in integration with Terraform, Console, and Vault. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started understanding and using Nomad effectively. So we will get started by installing a single Nomad instance to get a sense of its interface and its cluster structure. And then we're going to use Terraform and Console to deploy a full Nomad cluster with Docker for containerized applications. So if you want to follow along in this tutorial, there will be a link in the description below where you can get $100 free credit. So that should be enough for you to follow along with this tutorial. So click the link in the description below for you to get access to that. And having that said, let's get straight into this video. The first thing we need to do is to install Nomad. Now the most approachable solution for this is to set up a Nomad instance using Linode. So on the Cloud Manager, we are going to set up a Linode that has Nomad already installed in it and configured. So what we're going to do now is just to go to cloud.linode.com, and there will be a link in the description below where you can easily access that. And then what you need to do is to come under Marketplace. So we're going to use the Cloud Manager Marketplace, and then under Select App, a bunch of apps are going to load. So we're going to give that a second to load. And then once the apps have loaded, we're going to scroll down and look for where we see HashiCorp Nomad, which is this app right here. And we're going to click on it and we're going to come down to configure it. So what we need to do now is to set up a user. So I'm just going to say Tomi Toko, and we have to give you a password. And you can leave this blank. And for the image, we can give it Debian11. And for the region, you should select the region that is closest to you. I'm going to select London, UK. And if you also want to, maybe you don't have any region closest to you here and you want to see which region is best suitable for you, you can click on this speed test page, and it's going to take you to a page that's going to run a test to show you what region to pick. And under Linode plan, we're going to click on dedicated 4 gig. And then we're going to go down, and right here we need to put in a root password. Make sure you remember that. And we can leave the rest blank, and you can click on create Linode. So now this is going to create a Linode instance that has Nomad installed and already configured in it. Now as you can see, this server is running successfully and we have Nomad running on this particular Linode. Now Nomad has a WebUI, and I'm going to show you how to be able to run that WebUI successfully. Now the perk of using Linode to create this is that we can easily copy the IP address and do port 8080, and it's going to automatically spin up the web UI for us. This is how we can easily use Linode to get this running. But normally what we need to do is when you set up this particular Linode and you have Nomad installed in it, what we can do is to actually use SSH to spin up a web UI or to open up the web UI for Nomad. And this is how we're going to do it. So we're going to use a particular command, and it's going to open it on our local host. So what we did was opening it using this IP address directly. But if we want to develop on our computer and want to actually open this Nomad web UI on the local host, then we have to use a certain command. And I'm going to walk you through that command. So you got to open your terminal, and in your terminal, paste in this command. So it's SSH L4646. This is basically saying using localhost port 4646 and localhost port 4646. But now we need to change this particular IP address. So this IP address needs to be the IP address of that particular instance. And the user also, where it says example user, this needs to be the user name which we set when we were setting up that particular instance. Now once you click on enter, it's going to ask for the password. That password where we set when we were basically creating this instance is what you need to put in here right now. And as you can see, that is working successfully. And now once I come in here and I do localhost port 4646, so now as you can see, this web UI has been successfully loaded up. Now before we move forward, I'm going to explain some concepts about how the operations of Nomads is structured around. Now the first thing I'm going to explain is a Nomad agent. Now a Nomad agent runs on each node in the Nomad cluster and can either be a server agent or a client agent. I'm going to explain what those two means in a bit. An agent do all the work behind Nomad, and it is the presence of this agent network that makes up the Nomad cluster. Now, a Nomad server agent manages jobs and clients. That's what it does. Each server node communicates with the other server node for high availability and awareness across multiple regions. Now, servers also manage job schedules and disseminate jobs to appropriate client nodes when the jobs need executed. A Nomad client agent watches for jobs from its region server's nodes and executes any tasks within those jobs. So essentially, clients are the unit that fulfill jobs, running the necessary tasks, whether batch processes, services, or otherwise. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is a Nomad job. Now, a Nomad job is a collection of one or more tasks that is to be handled by a client. And tasks are collected into groups within their jobs, and each task in turn contains a single unit of work to be executed by a client agent. Now, what we've done so far has provided a solid foundational understanding of Nomad. We're basically going to be deploying a complete Nomad cluster using Terraform for provisioning and Console for networking. Now, let me just show you how to do this. Now, Terraform is another tool by HashiCorp, and it's very good for doing this because it coordinates configuration and deployment between all nodes in a cluster. So this basically saves manual installation and it saves setup time for each node. Now, that's why we want to use Terraform. Now, in this tutorial, we're going to use a custom Terraform script to deploy the Nomad cluster. So here's a rundown of what the Terraform script does. So first, it creates a given number of Nomad servers and client nodes, and all instances deploy within a single region and leverages the Linode VLAN feature for virtual private cloud communications between nodes. Now, once it's done that, it executes a script on each node to install Nomad, console, and also Docker. Then it runs a script on each server node to provide an initial console and Nomad server configuration. Now, it repeats this process for each client node and setting the configurations for communication with the server nodes. Then the last thing it does is that it starts up console and Nomad so that the cluster is up and running and accessible by the end of the Terraform process. Now, I'm going to show you how to deploy the cluster using Terraform. So first of all, you need to make sure that you have Terraform installed. If you don't have that installed, make sure you first install that before you follow along with this tutorial. Now, once you have that installed, the second thing you want to do is to download a zip file of a Terraform script written by us. So I'm going to show you, this is the link right here to that particular script. I'll make sure to leave the link in the description below so you can easily access it. Once you click enter, it's going to download that script for you. And once you download that script, we're going to move over to our terminal. So first, make sure that you SSH out of the server that we were logged into before. And once you do that, we just want to make sure we're in downloads because we just downloaded a particular script and we want to make sure we are in that folder. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to move this particular zip file that we downloaded. I'm going to move it to my home directory. So for me to do that, I'm going to say move example nomad terraform.zip, and this says I'm moving it to my home directory. Now this is the file name. This is basically what we downloaded right here. Now I'm going to run this and it has been moved, and I'm going to go to that particular place. Now the particular place I'm talking about is my home directory. Now I'm in my home directory and I'm going to unzip it. So as you can see, this file is a zip file. So first of all, we moved it from downloads to the home directory. So now this particular zip file is now in the home directory. And what I'm going to do is just to unzip this particular zip file. And right here, I'm just going to do unzip that. And as you can see, it's archiving it and everything has been unzipped. So now we should now have a new directory that basically creates a folder that is named example nomad terraform. Now we want to go into that directory. Now we are in that directory. If I press ls to see what is in there, you can see that we have main.tf scripts, terraform.tf and then we have variables.tf. Now the next thing we're going to do is to open this particular folder up in VSCode or whatever code editor that you use. So I'm going to come in here, and right here in VSCode, I already have this folder here opened up. And what I'm going to do is to come into terraform.tf and I'm going to open this up. So I'm going to explain some stuff in here. So this is basically the configuration for each node that is going to be created in this cluster. Now I'm going to explain all of these configurations, and I'm going to explain how you can get each of these particular values that you need. So this is the token. Now this token is basically the Linode API token. This basically allows us this particular thing that we're developing to be able to connect to Linode. So all of these nodes and everything we want to create, all the instances, can be created in the cloud manager. So now I'm going to show you how to get this. So you just need to come back to your browser, and right here in your Linode cloud, so we can actually quit this because we've dealt with that. You can come to your profile, and in your profile you can click on API tokens. So once you click on API tokens, I already have this token created, but I can't even see it again. Well, because when you create a token, they only show you once. So I'm going to show you how to create a new token. Now you have to create a personal access token. You can label it, I'm just going to say test, and you can set this to whenever you want it to expire. And for all of this, you need to make sure that the access is read and write. So you need to make sure that everything is read and write, and then you click on create token. So once you click on create token, that is going to generate a token for you. Make sure you copy it and immediately come here and paste it. Now I'm not going to be pasting all my own values or all my own information because they are sensitive information. So I'm just going to explain how you can do it, and I'm going to put mine after. So you're going to see what I'm going to do. Now once you've done with putting the API token, the next thing you need to do is to put your SSH key. So now this SSH key is basically, as you can see, it is a list. So it takes a list of SSH public keys, and these keys are known to host each node. So it basically allows the SSH access to each node. Now what we can just do is to enter the public key of my local machine. So on your machine, what you can just do is to get the SSH public key of that your machine and paste it in here. Now if you don't know what yours is, I'm going to show you how to get yours. Now you have to come into your terminal, and if you want to generate an SSH key for the first time, so first of all, I'm going to go away from this particular directory that I am in. I'm going to go to the home directory. What you need to do is to run this particular command, SSH key gen -t RSA. So this is going to generate a new public and private key, but what you really need is a public key. So I already have that done, so I'm not going to click on it. If I click enter, you're going to see that it says it wants to save it in here. Enter the file in which you want to save it. So if I enter the file and I click enter, it's going to say it's going to overwrite a particular file, and I don't want it to do that, so I'm going to opt out of that. Now let me just clear this for it to look neat. Now if you already have an SSH key generated and you just want to get the public key, what you just need to do is to paste in this code or type this particular command line, and it's going to show you your public key, your SSH public key for your local machine. I'm not going to enter this because I don't want my information to show up in here. So that is how to do that. I'm going to get away from here and just basically gonna go back into this particular folder. Let's make sure we're in that folder. Now once you have that public key that has been generated, just paste it in here instead of SSH_key. Now for your root password, this is just you setting a root password. You could just type in whatever password you want to set in here. And this server count and client count, so all of these are already been pre-configured in this particular script. They dictate the number of Nomad servers and client nodes to provision. So this will provision 3 Nomad server and 3 Nomad client. Now for the region, choose the region that is closest to you. Now I'm in London, UK. You need to make sure that wherever you're choosing is accepted. So there is a range of destination that Linode provides. So I'm just gonna show you this right here. And if you open this particular link, you can see that it has a lot of destinations. You might not understand this now, but I'm going to show you one more thing. So this particular script uses the VLAN overview from Linode. So I'm just going to show you what that is right here. So this is the available regions that you can choose from. So I'm choosing London, UK. It is available. So you need to make sure that whatever region you're trying to choose in this script is available in here. So if you're trying to choose Dallas, Texas, just for this particular use case, won't work because it's not yet available. So now that I'm trying to choose London, UK, let me show you how to get it in this way. So as you can see, US Southeast, it doesn't write it in the way it shows it in here, Frankfurt, Germany, and all of this. It writes it in a specific way, like an ID. So I'm going to show you how to get this ID. So for London, UK, which is right here, I'm going to show you how to get it. Now in this link right here, note that I'm going to leave all of these links in the description below. Now in this link right here, what you just need to do, we're going to search for London, and as you can see, it comes up here as London, and that ID, which is EU West, is what we're going to use. So for me, I'm going to use EU West. And the Linode image, this just uses Ubuntu, and then the server type and client type, it uses a dedicated and standard server. So now all of this will be configured, and what I'm going to do is just to paste in all my own configurations and close this. Now, just because these are sensitive information I'm going to paste, I'm not going to show that to you. I'm going to save the file. I have pasted in my own configurations and all the values that I need, and I'm going to save the file and I'm going to close it. Now, what we're going to do is to initialize this Terraform script. So I'm going to come back to the terminal and we're going to make sure we are still in that particular folder. And now I'm going to run Terraform init. And that is initializing the backend and doing everything we need to do. That has been done. It has been successfully initialized. Now we're going to apply it using Terraform apply. So it says, do we want to perform these actions? Only yes will be accepted. So we need to say yes. And then everything will be done in a bit. So as you can see, it has been applied successfully. So everything has been completed. And once yours is done, it should show this message saying apply complete, resources 12 added, and all of that. So everything is working successfully. Now let's cross check, because this should have created a bunch of clients and servers in our Linode or in the cloud manager. If I come back to Linodes, as you can see, now we have a bunch of Nomad client and Nomad server. Now let's verify this and let's just open the Nomad UI. And when you want to open a Nomad UI, make sure that you are clicking on one of the server. So I could click on any of these server. I'm just going to click on the first one. And I'm going to take the public IP address. And then I'm going to open a new tab. And I'm going to open the IP address under the port 4646. So now, as you can see, this is working successfully. Now, if I come into clients, these are the Nomad clients that were deployed. And if I come into servers, I can see the list of Nomad servers that were also deployed. So this was done successfully. Now to see this Nomad cluster in action, I'm going to quickly create and execute a simple job on it. So this can actually be done right here from the Nomad web interface. Now in this example, what I'm going to do is to create a simple Docker image that allows a client to echo hello world via an HTTP server. So what we're going to do is that once we finish running that job, once we go to a client server and we go to the port, let's say it's a particular port, maybe like port 3030 or something like that, is going to print out hello world. Now let's just do that. The first thing you need to do is to come to jobs. Right here in jobs, you need to click on run job. So I'm going to copy a particular code and paste it in here. Now all of this is going to be available in the description below. Just check this out for anything that you can't access. Now as you can see, what this does is that it prints hello world on the port 3030 via an HTTP server. Now I'm going to click on plan. Now normally this should give me like a green, this should be green and it should give me everything should be successful. This is like a plan of what the job is going to do, but it's giving me orange, which means there's an error. So let's read the error. It says no nodes were eligible for evaluation. If we come back in here, I'm going to click on cancel. Now this is because there's no node that can perform this job. That's basically what it said. Now the only thing that I see that can cause this is the data centers. Now if you come back in here and we go to Linodes, now in all of these clients and servers that we created, you're going to see that the region that I created them on is London, UK. If I come back in here, the data center that is in this code is US Southeast. They don't correlate. Now what I need to do is to change this to correlate to London, UK, which is EU West. So once I do that, everything should be working and I click on plan. Good. Now you can see it says all tasks successfully allocated. Now if you face that error, make sure that you adjust the particular data center to the region that you set up in Terraform when setting up all of the clients and servers. Now we're going to click on run. This should run successfully soon. Now as you can see, what this is showing is just basically breaking everything down for us. It's showing us what is running. It's showing us everything that is executed. Now in a bit, it's going to tell us that it's successful right here. You can see that it says latest deployment was successful. Now for us to actually see that this is successful, what we need to do is to come into one of the clients, because I said what this job is doing is that it allows each of the client servers, each of the Nomad client to be able to run on the port 3030, and what it's going to do is to print out the word hello world. So let's do that. Now if I come into Nomad client 1 and I click on the IP address, if I go into port 3030, you're going to see that right here we have hello world. I'm just going to make that a little bit big. So right here you can see that we have hello world, which means that this particular job was successful in deploying. So that is all for this video, and you now know how to start orchestrating workloads using Nomad. I hope you understood everything we did in this video. Now if you did, please don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe, and also drop in the comments whatever topic you want us to cover next. Now thank you for watching once again, and I'll see you in the next one.